I'm going to sit here too. Hi, so when I actually applied to do this lightning round, I was still a student and I was not working at the Brooklyn Public Library. My talk is about one of the branches of the Brooklyn Public Library, the Greenpoint branch. Greenpoint is a community in Brooklyn. It's the northernmost neighborhood of Brooklyn, so it's bordering on Queens. And it's one of Brooklyn Public Library's busiest branches. There are about 3,000 plus patrons that go through these doors every week. This is the current building on the left, and the library was just awarded $10 million in funds to completely renovate the single-story building into a new library. And the second floor is going to be an educational center called the Greenpoint Environmental Education Center. It's going to have a green rooftop, a grass rooftop with native plants and composting, and a rooftop classroom. The Greenpoint Environmental Education Center will provide students and residents with more than 300 educational programs annually to promote environmental awareness and stewardship of the local environment. The education programs will be specifically tailored to Greenpoint ecology, and this is significant. I want to talk about where the money came from. So out of the $10 million, $5 million of it came from what's called the Greenpoint Community Education Fund. The other $5 million was matching funds. So the Greenpoint Community Education Fund was created by the state of New York from monies they won in a settlement in a lawsuit with Exxon over the oil spill in Greenpoint. So I want to talk about the oil spill. Usually when we think about oil spills, we think about these big ships, and then there's something happens, and there's this huge oil spill. Well, this oil spill in Greenpoint is actually one of the biggest in the United States, but it's what you'd call a slow oil spill. Starting in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there were several oil refineries located in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and petroleum processing plants, petroleum storage, and very little regulation. And so all this oil, arsenic, lead, benzene has been leaking into the soil for decades. And the city, residents were getting sick. The city didn't really officially recognize this until one day a Coast Guard helicopter was flying over Greenpoint, and the pilot looked down and saw a plume of oil spilling into Newtown Creek. Newtown Creek is a small estuary that borders the top of Brooklyn. The oil was rapidly heading towards the East River and New York Harbor. So at that point, the city was like, oh no, and so they investigated. This was in the late 70s. And they found that, they eventually found that up to 30 million gallons of oil had leaked into the soil and the creek over a period of several decades. And the damage was extensive into the soil, was over 100 acres. So Greenpoint residents in the 2000s filed lawsuits, was followed by the city, followed by the state, and so they finally got their settlement and they established this fund. The new library building will also provide community meeting space for community residents for environmental programs and other things. The Greenpoint Library Grant was the largest single grant investment the GCEF has made in Greenpoint thus far. And it was a top vote getter when they polled the neighborhood, receiving a vote in 65% of the ballots cast. So the community really loves their library, and they're going to be sad to be without it for 2 years while they're rebuilding it, but I think it's going to be awesome.